Hello everyone and welcome to my studio. I'm George Coll and today's lesson is first one of a three-part series called Torrey Utah. This is a 17 by 22 odd shape. I know, I cut them all different shapes. And so we get to work with a lot of warm colors this week. So today was block in, and what we did was to figure out maybe 5 basic shapes, and then we added a value color within each one of those shapes. That's basically all we did. So it's paint by numbers almost today. And so with that, that took about 30 minutes, and I hope you can follow along with me step by step. If I get ahead of you, just hit pause and then catch up. Don't be afraid to get in front of a blank canvas. Keep painting. I'll be glad to be your instructor every week. Get critiques and get outside and paint. I think that's all I can say today, and that's enough because we've got a lot of painting to do, and let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for coming by. Bye-bye. Hello everybody and welcome to part 1 here. I don't know, did I name this thing yet? I think I'm going to call it, I'll come up with a name here soon. This is over by Torrey, Utah, by Capitol Reef National Monument, where Jenny and I visited last fall. And I like this composition. It just shows how massive these rocks formations are around town. And I'm going to probably show a little bit more of this building than is shown here in the photograph. Otherwise, I don't think I'm going to make a lot of changes. My materials today are my 10 and maybe a 4, and looks like a number 4 bright. And of course my scraper, and I've got my primary colors. Ultra blue, permanent red medium, lemon yellow, Naples deep, Naples yellow deep, and cold gray. I have my white down here. I have a kind of a contaminated white on the lower right, and then I have a brand new clean white off here. I have some Naples left over from last week. I still think it might be pretty good. I have a Viridian and a yellow ochre. Now, I think what I'm going to do is, oop, did I screw up the camera? Okay, I'm good. What I want to do in this first part of this session is figure out where my major shapes are. If I have 3 or 4 basic shapes, that's going to make for a good painting. I don't need a whole bunch of shapes, but I see the shapes of the trees here, shape of the mountain. I need a house in there, and then kind of these lower bushes in here with these 2 shapes. Here's some, shorter grass, these bushes coming in here. So I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4 major shapes, and if I throw in the house, that's 1 more. So I think that's all we need for a good painting. All right, so let's make a drawing color to figure out where our shape should be. Got my turp off to the right, my paper towels, my gloves on, and I'm ready to paint. So let's go with some white, and I'm taking from my contaminated piles. It's a little sticky. I'm going to get some blue in there and some gray. Throw in some red. And I have a nice purple gray or gray pink. Nice color. All right, I'm going to use this kind of old curved out brush. I'm going to add just a little bit of turp to this. I don't want it too runny, but just enough to get some distance out of it. And I think I'm going to use this as the horizon line right down here, which is the horizon in which the house is on. So I'm going to put that in right in here somewhere. And I can build up from it, and I can build down from it. I want to make sure it's level. I think it's level in the painting. And then I think I'm going to have here's a shape in here. And here's a shape in here. So shape 1 and 2. And there's another one of the trees here. And I think the house is going to be somewhere in here. And that's going to be my house is in here somewhere. All right, now I have the big mountain behind it. And it's going to go like this. It's a big hump here somewhere. Then a level. And a couple of mountains behind it. I think I've made this hump a little more than it really is. And then I have a shadow coming up in here. And that's by a big shadow up in there. All right, this is time to step back, take a sip of your coffee, and see if your shapes are in the right place. I can't express more the importance of getting your shapes in the right place. This is a good reference. You don't have to change a whole lot. But, you know, you can see I've reduced the size of the sky a little bit. But I think basically we've got a lot of good stuff going on in here. So I'm going to step back and see if I need to change any of those lines. One thing I can say about this step, it's a two-part step. One is to figure out where your shapes are going to be by using lines. The second part is we're going to be putting value color in on these basic shapes, and that's the next thing we're going to do with a bigger brush. Just a way to start a painting. There's lots of ways to start a painting. This one is pretty common. All right. I think I made my shadow a little large, and I see some other kind of, I'm going to do some more defining. And there's big darks in here, and big darks in, I think this has to be reduced here. So I'm constantly going over, checking with my other lines to see, and I think this is a major hump here. So I made my hump a little wrong. I'm changing that, and there's some air holes coming in here. You can see the tree limbs coming in there. And trying to figure out where these shapes are. All right, so as you can see, I'm refining my shapes and using this old worn out brush to kind of give an indication where these shapes are going to be. I see a major dark coming in right in here. And I'm going to make a value note there. And some other darks here. That may be too high. And I'm changing my lines as I go. I'm using a little bit of Turp paper towel. You can see that does a pretty good job.
George?
Good morning, Anthony.
How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining the class this morning.
Trying to mute myself.
All right, thank you for muting.
Sure. Trying to mute myself here. I can't figure out what's going on.
All right, so those are my major darks there. Another major dark here. Major dark in here. And I may have my house in the wrong place, but I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever. Just as I get it in there. And I'm removing the tree from in front of the house so I can say house a little bit more than what they have there. Now, off camera, I'm going to do a little bit of drawing and get this house a little bit better. See, I think I need to maybe bring up the horizon just a little bit there. And I'll work on that. No big deal there. Now, I also see that this is a little bit more in shadow over here, this mountain, and this one is a lighter back there. There's strata here and here, cliffs here. Strata, and I think we have a light here, major light. And I'm going to bring my trees down just a little bit. So you can see I'm doing a lot of refinement with my drawing. The reason I'm doing that is I want to make this drawing say what it needs to say, which is I've got this big, massive deal here and this little house right here to kind of say we have this monster behind this house, and that's what I'm trying to describe in this painting. So Utah type of a landscape. I'm going to take a double look at this and see if I need to do any more refinement. I think with that, I'm going to bring up this horizon just a little bit. What that does, it makes the house a little bit smaller. All right, so I think it's time to start thinking about our color value. So, Jan, are you painting along with me today, or are you watching? She must be watching. All right, so what color are we going to go with? I'm going to start with trying to figure out some of these major darks here.
George, I'm painting with you.
Oh, good for you. I'm going to go blue and red and yellow. So, Jan, we have to convince Anne to paint along with us so she can become a quicker, faster painter. Because I have a hunch.
I am painting along.
Oh, this is a first then, isn't it?
I painted along last week.
Oh, very good. Okay, I'm going to make two darks. I'm going to make a blue, gray, red, and a little bit of yellow. And here I'm going to make a lighter green. So this is a blue, red, gray, and yellow. And I'm going to add just a little bit of Naples to it. So you can see I have a light and I have a dark. I probably didn't make enough, so I want to make sure I'm going to put it in thin. This is our thin step. So I'm going to put some darks in here. And I want to make sure I get some over here and a few other places. Put some under the house too. And now I'm going to go to the lighter color. Oh wait, I missed one. Right in here, I think we've got a dark. I think these are too equal. I should not be doing that, so I'm going to make this one bigger. This one bigger right here. So they're not so equal. All right, now for the light. Using the same brush and I think I need to erase some in here. There's some mountain coming through there. I'm going to add more Naples to this green mixture. More white. So on top of this green, I'm doing Naples and white. And I'm going to be working in this area. I think there's a road or something coming this way. Again, I'm going to go thin. Get rid of this big dark. And I'm just going to lay some of the yellow in there. And I know there's a lot of other greens and stuff scattered through here, but I'm just trying to get a value drawing in here, and that's it. I think I have a dark over here. All right, I think that's it for the cools, and what I'm going to do is just kind of soften some of these edges with a knife. I'm going to get the right knife, my big guy here. And I'm just softening these edges a little. And I can also soften with some paper towels. And I think that does it for my pile. It's about shot. I think I have a little bit left in there. Let me mix it. It's a pretty color. So I put my brush back into the turf while I clean my palette to move on to this red area. Again, I'm going to make a light red and a dark red. One for shadow, one for light. All right, let's get to mixing. So let's get some Naples and some white and add red. So again, let's get Naples and white. And I'm hoping that's enough. Now I'm going to make a darker pile. Go red, blue, Naples, Naples. I think I need more blue in there. Oh, darn it. That stuff is too strong. Screwed up. Back to red. Naples. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Now we're doing it. All right, so let's go with the darks. And we have dark. So let's get our dark pattern. And let's go make a tweener. I mixed the two piles together, and I'll go with this guy over here. Oh, I should have gotten more dark up in that upper tree. And I'm going to thin this down because this guy's more blue. I'm going to add a little bit more blue and gray. Let's do this. There we go. It's a little bit more to the point. And here's the thinner color for the background. Mountain back in here. I just added more white. Thin. I'm going to see if I can get any green out of this thing. Yeah, there we go. I have a little bit left on my palette, so I'll get this green in over here. Got it. Lucky that I had some left over. That's why it's always good to put stuff in a corner when you're done with it if you have a little left over. I think we have some more gray down here. And I will get some of that in. And now we're going to go with the lighter. Going to add just a little bit more red. Let me see how we're doing here. That should do it. Nice flesh color. I'll darken that a little bit for going up here. It's a little darker. And a little darker still as we go even higher, but let me go over to the other side and get some of this dark in here. And we'll go back to the lighter and go in here. So we're taking our best guess at a value color, and that's what we're doing right now. My first teacher called this the mother color. Just try to get your guess in here. And let's go even darker and put that on the top. Now I have some halos in here, or I have some peekaboo, you know, my canvas coming through. Off camera, so I don't take up the valuable time. It takes so long to download if you go more than 30 minutes on YouTube. I'll just be scrubbing in the local color in over the white stuff. Though I'm also going to draw out figure out where the roof line of that cabin's going to be off camera also. So I'll be doing a lot of this stuff off camera to do exactly what I'm doing right now. So if I come up to an area that needs some, to get rid of some of the white canvas peeking through, I just come through and scrub in from the local stuff, like right there. I need to go even lighter here, so I'm gonna lighten the top of the trees with my rag. I think I need to get a dark in there. I don't have any left on my palette, right in there. Now the same would be true here. I'm gonna just kind of scrub around my local color, and if I don't have enough, then I'll just dip into whatever I have that's close to it and lay that in. Okay, so enough of that. Let's get up to the sky. So we need to mix all this stuff together, put it off to the side, see what that looks like. Oh, that's a pretty color. We're just so, lucky to be able to be artists and work with these beautiful colors, create these shapes. Okay, now I have a nice clean glass, and I'm ready to make the sky. So I think what I'm going to do is just go simple right now and get a lot of ultra blue and a lot of clean white. And make a big pile. And I'm going to need more. And that's my big pile. This is a good time if you have two brushes. This one's kind of contaminated with all that warm stuff we have in there. I might just put it to the side, check down below here to see if I have a similar large brush that can do some damage. Well, I'll use this number 1. It's a little soft, but I think it'll do a fine job. So I'm going to get a little chirp in it, pick up some, and you can see I'm just really getting it all over the place. Oop, lost my image. So again, this is really simple. This one is just ultra blue and white. Just make sure you got a clean brush and some clean white. Now I know it goes from lighter to darker, and I can worry about that later. And I've got some sky holes. But that is the block in. So we did 2 things today. We figured out where our major shapes were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what we figured out today. We got a value in there, and we can darken, lighten, enrich the colors tomorrow. And off camera, I'm going to work on these peekaboo white holes, figure out where the roof line is going to be on my house. And with that, that will bring us to the end of part 1. All right, so I think I said I was going to name this Torrey Utah, and that's what I'll do. YouTubers and U-Screens, thank you so much for tuning in today. And we're going to try to make this a 3-part series. And tune in tomorrow for our next lesson, which will be balance. Part 2 is usually balance. We're balancing colors and values. Alrighty, you all. Thanks for coming by. And Zoom students, please stay on, and we'll discuss this. And with that, I'll bring this one to an end. Bye-bye.